I've never been blindsided in my life more than I was just now. I saw the stutter in the frame, and I was for sure it was, I don't know what it was, and then it was that. Well, welcome into the Paladins minor league. Did you know that was happening? Did you know that was happening? He knew it was happening. Welcome into the Paladins minor league.
I would never do you like that.
One of the more successful intros I think we've ever had, of course. I'm Dolson, as you saw in the intro video there, joined by Pretty Hair for hopefully now we can recover into a great day of the minor league. Thank you for
What do you mean? It's already a great day.
It's already a great day. I guess it's the best way we could have possibly started off. Of course, we're going to start off on the European side of things. Some good matches. Honestly, the storyline to watch, Penta kind of slipped a little bit to start off. They're going up against One Trick Pony today, so a 2 versus 4 matchup, and this is a Penta team that really needs to get something going. We'll see Sour Team in our second match of the day. They hold down that #1 spot, of course. But looking towards One Trick Pony and Penta making some changes.
Oh, yeah.
I believe Cise is the one who is not playing this week. And then Slapidopoulos jumping over to the Penta roster, playing DPS for them this week. So an interesting change, but a team that needs to get something moving.
Yeah, good for them. You know, good for Slapidopoulos as well to be able to be on this roster, part of this organization. This is that squad, again, that had 3 of their players cherry-picked to the Premier League. So it's a little surprising that they're struggling at this point. They had a lot of talent just completely extracted. So have to rebuild, have to go through that process again. But I'm sure if they've done it once, they can do it again. I know this is probably Ovim's 3rd or 4th team that has been largely cherry-picked around him. He's had to rebuild.
Tough. That's tough. I remember post-MSI, we were hoping that they would somehow stick together all as one. But like you said, I mean, you lose some of those individual members. Everyone's got to take their chances as you get them. And now they're looking to rebuild, get something going, moving towards the second part of this. Of course, this is the last week where we'll see the first time of all these teams playing one another. So the last team, Penta, to play up against is One Trick Pony. We'll see where everything shakes out after today, though. Let's see the map bans for match #1, see where we're not allowed to play today. Frozen Guard and Bazaar. Everyone loves banning Bazaar. Gore is quietly crying somewhere. Timber Mill and Waters Gate both off the board as well. One Trick Pony, though, has surprised me, I think, kind of out of the gate here, holding down that second place spot. A team, honestly, depending on their performance today, could make this an interesting region.
Yeah, One Trick Pony, not unknown by any means, really. Just kind of, a ragtag group of people that have been around before. Not overly successful, not underly successful, though, at the same time, right? A lot of guys that have been on a couple of different teams, especially when you look at Doodle. He didn't have the greatest minor league phase, didn't have the greatest Premier League, split either when he was a part of Mouse Sports.
Right.
But overall, you could kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel for this kid. I mean, he's absolutely a solid player. He's made it to LAN before, so he's had some of those better performances. With those opportunities, Mouse Sports definitely presented him. So it's very clear that the minor league is not ready to give up on him, and his name still holds weight there.
He, of course, playing in sort of that flex instead of, or the flex like off tank, and sometimes instead of the blaster,
which is weird.
Where we're used to seeing him.
It's like the cycle of life for a Paladins player. You you go from your DPS to your front line, and then you just sunset as support.
And he's still in the flex front line play right there.
The old man on the healers,
they're quietly crying somewhere off in the distance. Shattered Desert, though, map #1, not a map we get to see very often. Actually, I'm very excited to see this one. Kind of this ragtag, run around in a circle, dance around, draft, try to fight towards the middle of the map. In this case, it's going to be interesting to see what the drafts end up looking like here. This is a matchup where I think Penta need to kind of swing first. Their backs against the wall here. I think striking first, especially against One Trick Pony in these best-of-5 sets, not a lot of room for error. Getting on the board first, I think, will be important.
Well, Torvald Atlas taking a seat early on, and no front lines banned for One Trick Pony. Not an uncommon strategy to see from the second pick. They're going to keep enough power tanks open at this juncture to be able to grab 2 if they want it, if they so choose. Leon, also a solid ban. I wouldn't say that that's surprising to see. The Cassie is really more of what sort of gives away that OTP are trying to keep a couple of things open as the picks come to them.
And, frontliners normally kind of coming at a premium where you wouldn't get the Makoa or the Khan. In this case, both are available. Like you said, Torvald Atlas gone. Khan Ash, the question of who do you first pick out of those two is kind of what a lot of teams end up coming down to. And One Trick Pony here actually getting their hands on both. Very strong frontline start from them. You can't scoff at the Makoa, though, especially when you pair it with the Tyra.
Yeah, a lot of damage and potential there, and they're going to keep that trend going, picking the Genos up as well. These are good, I think, to get away. Obviously, 2 aggressive frontliners for OTP. They would pair very well with that damage amp. They do, frontliners, especially the ones that are competitive, do good damage. They do around, 7 to like 800 DPS. So that extra, little 15, or in the case of Hunting Party, even more, you really kind of tip that frontliner into a very, very lethal zone where it becomes very difficult to deal with them if they can all get on you. Especially if people are going to start running triple tank Tyra. This is something NIP have done a lot in the Premier League. It has sort of required, a couple of key components to it.
Sure.
We'll see if just running the Furia is enough. The more damage you have, the better, it seems, with triple frontline.
Yeah, and now they're putting Penta in a position where maybe they were reading into that. They figured Penta might actually opt for triple tank, take away the Barrack just to prevent that from coming to fruition fully. They're going to round out with a Drogoz here. So Makoa, Tyra, Genos, Inara, Drogoz for Penta. Strong lineup, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they were looking for triple tank with the Tyra, Genos, maybe not, seeing as they might have gone tank as one of their earlier picks. Regardless, though, they get double damage amp. They put it on a Makoa, on a Tyra. Rounding out with a Victor, though, for One Trick Pony here. 2 good drafts.
That's pretty much the size of it. I mean, there's no flank pressure. There's no real dive unless we see Makoa just trying to get on this Victor. But if Victor takes out Drogoz, then Penta's teamfight becomes a lot harder. If this Drogoz stays alive, frankly, I think he's going to be very effective. Fire Spit goes over the top of all of these shields for this front line. A very, red and gold type of lineup for them.
Well, Penta have had a tough start to this minor league split. They're going to look to get something started here in game number 1 against One Trick Pony. Casters, take it away.
Thank you from the desk, guys. Hello, everybody. It is me, Fawn. I'm here, joined by Kirsten.
I thought I was casting Enfinib last week.
Right, yeah.
But apparently we're seeing the same exact thing here. I mean, the no tank bans from the second pick, getting triple tank, and then playing it into a Makoa. It's an interesting strategy, and on a map like this, it's really wide. There might be some merit to this. I feel like they could get in, or at least surround them before they can adapt.
Yeah, I agree with that. We were talking a lot about just the matchup in general, how we felt about the comps before we actually were just watching it. Currently right now, it's just that always with triple frontline, there will always be a Furia, is what I was saying. I personally believe, because we saw it last time, about last week or the week before that, just in not necessarily in general, but we did see that the Inflame provides a very, very huge boost to a lot of triple frontliners.
Yeah, I mean, the Inflame does give a lot of engage potential. The healing does lack a little bit, so the fights have to end very quickly. So this first mid is going to be a little harder for the triple tank, but they're just going to have to use their cooldowns, their abilities, the things that will get record and cauterized later in the game to make the big difference here on this fight.
All right, Barrack actually runs on the point, drops a shield. The rest of One Trick Pony all went together. They grouped up. They wanted to make sure they at least had the advantage or knew where they were before they just got in and engaged. They have to respect them despite all of what was just said. Barrack goes down first.
Perfect Void Grip, too, to catch him out. And they burned him before he could even get his second, second dash. So great focus fire, I think, by Penta onto Doodle. So they're all going to have to back up here. This is really bad health-wise for them. I don't know what retake they're going to have. As long as Penta focuses the Ashe, this is going to be really hard for them to fit. Pressuring here on the right side, just trying to draw some focus away, but you can see already Penta knows who the most important target is, but he throws the hook a little bit early. Great Void Grip. Secures that for Penta, so great start by them. I think really solid focus fire, and having a great priority later in the fight. You know who's going to be the one who touches, right? They've played this game enough. They're like, well, that Ashe can cross half the map in 2 seconds. Nobody else can. We know where to look.
All right, Ashe actually tried to go in for the touch. Khan's going to have to back off a little bit using the Commander's Grab to really just get out of there. But Barrack goes down again, unfortunately. And this is the problem with triple tank. I was mentioning it a little bit before, is that in this fight right now that's happening, Ashe is being body blocked. They're just being burned too heavily. They weren't able to win the early fight.
A lot of this is in the draft, too, but we don't need to talk about that right now. Seismic Crash coming in, countered partially by the Inflame, so pressure on Defit. He has to back up half HP. Drogoz disengages. Just looks like no one was really there to help Ovim, so the Seismic Crash is only a disengage tool for them. Things calming down as Antidoodle pushes onto the point. How are they positioned here? Looks like the whole tank the double tank Penta, they're kind of stacked a bit. Attempted time and space, but the overpower catches the Inara, pulling them out, giving the advantage to One Trick Pony. I want to see how forward they take their triple tank aggression here.
Yeah, here we go. Defend. Getting that pick on the Ovim is going to be pretty huge for for the rest of OTP and this triple front line right now. They finally got the momentum they need. Ninu taking a few shots over here and just into that little alleyway, that choke point, to make sure he gets as much damage as possible. Makoa is on the right side to try and see if he can look out for Ash. Nice hook. The rest of them are going to follow through. The Huntress Mark goes down immediately, and she ends up going down like without much contention from OTP.
The draft here is just really hard, I think, for OTP to play into. All the counters for Triple Tank, I mean, Tyra can be rough if the aggression gets in from OTP, if they can cross that distance and get onto him. It's going to be hard. Great hook. Right out of this spot by Coriol, but the beam actually might save him there. I just squeaked. I didn't need to do that. The beam does manage to save Nixus for a moment, but Ninu finds the confirm there. Triple Tank, though, this is one of the spots that it's going to be at its best. All these tanks cycling on and off the cart, but if you charge a dash that far away, no tank is there to contest. They're going to burn through the Furia. They're barely making it back now. Stop Me being saved by the Rock, but they're going to find him eventually here.
Here we go. Ovum actually being the only one on the point. I believe he got a double kill just now. Actually is trying to make sure they can kill the Ashe. They do find it, Slapodopoulos, with the Huntress Mark. The Huntress party is just too strong right now. The next person that ends up going down, though, thanks to the Victor, is the Makoa. The fight is going either or right now. They're just trying to find any sort of chance to get what they need, and Penta pushed it in. They were forcing OTP back. Barrick has died so many times. Yeah, look at the slash lines with that.
0-5. Yeah. The damage coming in, it's just too much for him to deal with right now. Triple Tank, when you look at a team like NiP when they draft Triple Tank, at least phase 1, they would ban Drogoz a lot. Because unless you have a really great counter for it, they have a decent counter in the Victor, but the Drogoz can kind of play his distance a little bit too much on this map, I think. He just farms down on you. He just spams, gets a ton of free damage. You can see he's topping the charts, followed by the Tyra and the Makoa and Inara getting enabled by this Hunter's Mark. So OTP playing really hard into their own counters there. It's really hard for them to make this space. If anything, they have to just find the pressure onto this Tyra, because I don't think they can do anything about this Drogoz. You know, use that Inflame, use that Assert Dominance, cross that distance, and get rid of that 25% damage boost.
Here we go. The fight's about to start as well. The same position as before. Drogoz being all the way up in the back. OTP decided to go for the same route it was before. They are going off on the left side, but good overpower coming out from Khan. They do actually manage to get the kill onto Slapodopoulos. Victor now looking for that Drogoz, looking for those backline targets to prioritize. 2 of them have just went down. 1 ultimate, well actually 2 ultimates used, because Assert Dominance was just used as well. Inflame and Dome Shield are still available. Ovum getting the kill on the Barrick though. And immediately, in response, Khan does kill the Inara, and that's really, really good for OTP to get something started.
That's exactly how you have to start this fight with Triple Tank, right? I said it, like, you have to get onto the Tyra. They don't get onto the Tyra, but the Tyra gets onto them thanks to the overpower getting yoinked straight across the map. And during that, surrounding a team like this is another way to do it. Actually, Ancient Rage coming in is going to get countered by the Dragon Punch most likely. Can he trade it out? Oh, sorry, same team. What am I saying?
No,
Victor gets him on the wave. They traded out for the Furia as well. Ovum's getting cap time here. Actually, they have better cap time. They need to focus on that really quick. OTP needs to start contesting, but pressure from the side, the damage might not let them get in.
Yeah, Victor actually being a really, really good pick here in this situation. He's actually doing as much as he can to try and get the damage off. He is getting the kills, but they do trade 1 for 1. Barrick went down as well as Makoa, but with Makoa on the way back, the rest of them are going to have a hard time trying to find some sort of way in. And this is the power of just, like you said it perfectly, taking it to your own counters. That's what OTP is going through right now with a 3-0 lead for Penta.
They had an option there, but the retake from Penta was too good. I mean, the positioning from the Drogoz was so good, I thought he was on the other team. He was watching the Makoa go in because they had them surrounded. They had it set up. I was like, oh, yeah, he's going to trade that out. That's great. And then he goes right through him. But you can see, like, they had that set up super effective. OTP got backed up. And none of their ultimates, other than the overpower, really found any value. I mean, they used the Assert Dominance, and it didn't get much of anything other than buying a little bit of time, but in that time they weren't capping. It didn't make the difference that they needed.
Oh man, he immediately gets blown up. Victor just goes down the hook onto the Ashe, the body block again, and we've seen this so many times. Very, very unfortunate for the Ashe, the Void Grip to follow up and make sure they got that kill. Barrett goes down next. The overpower tried to come through. I think he was trying to hit the Drogoz, or at least somebody that he could actually, like, see if he could kill. Like, they need something. He was going for a pick that would get something started for us.
Defit using his shout a little bit early. They might not have that for the contest now. He could have healed in spawn, but either way, they're going to have to start walking in. He's marked as well, so he won't be able to contest for too long. They have the Assert Dominance, but they're not going to use it to contest. They're instead going to use it onto the backline. Vulcan getting caught out, but a great counter hook by Coriol and a body block, but the beam, the Pyre Strike, comes in and takes down Polka. 2 kills early for OTP.
Yeah, but the thing is that Drogoz and that Tyra are still alive with Crossfire there. The Inflame was used not necessarily as aggression, more so defensively. She had to make sure that the rest of this fight was just trying to go in the way of OTP. They do force Penta off the point, though. With a minute left on the clock, they have to find their positions and hold angles that they need to make sure Penta does not get in for free.
Listen, Ninu, I've been there, man. he had no rockets left.
Yeah.
He spat onto the Victor like, listen, if God willing, this will take you down.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to do any point of damage that I can, but he's already respawned and is back in. And OTP's giving up so much ground here. Look at the surround that they're kind of starting to do. Everyone's far back into the spawn. Ninu line is sighting the Victor, which means he's basically uncontested, but an early overpower flips things. Now Penta's going to have to back up and wait for their respawns.
Yeah, I saw the through time and space come through as well. They were trying to see if they could get any damage or at least snipe the Khan for trying to get the overpower, but he was just close enough to his base to where that wouldn't hit. It is down. Ancient Rage is up along with Dragon Punch, along with Crossfire. Now, here's the thing is that Penta don't have to push in at this point. Even if they are down 1 point, if OTP managed to defend this, they have so many ults coming into the next round.
It also means they can be bold with it, though, because they can use their ultimates and say, well, even if we lose this and then snowball the next 2 rounds, it's still 3-3. We can't lose. And looks like that might be what's happening. Ultimates being much everywhere. Dragon Punch, Barrage, Dome Shield, Ancient Rage. How is this going to turn out?
I have no clue whatsoever. The Inflame goes through to try and get something started. Something. OTP just has to find their momentum. They need to find something that can actually work for them. The overtime is there, but the Hunter's Mark, Slopodopoulos with another double kill. That was just so well played by Penta. The triple front line, it can be good in certain scenarios.
Yeah.
In certain scenarios.
But it just couldn't get through the counterplay that Penta had. I mean, this is a Penta we've been wanting to see for the last couple of weeks. You know, they haven't really been showing up. They are 0-2, and with a strong start like that, yes, they had, I think, a very big advantage in the draft, but they still had to execute on it. They still had to have the positioning to deal with the Victor, to deal with all the tanks that were pressuring them, and I think they only had one slip-up at the start of the second mid, and then they completely fixed it and retook right after.
Yeah, I mean, like, you saw the situation that OTP was in, where they had the thing about triple front lines that you have to win early or at least try and push your advantage in a way so you can get things started. But just with their comp, Penta's comp alone, like look at that 72,000 damage on Ninu, 70,000 on Slopodopoulos. Meanwhile, the Ashe, the Ashe actually has really, really low damage as well as the Victor compared to Ninu and Slopodopoulos.
I mean, Victor has about the same damage as the top damagers on Penta, but when you look at a Victor historically, right, that's his job. His job is just damage. You know, he really doesn't do much else. So the fact that Penta, even though they won the game, even barely outdamaged him, that's big. I mean, I think that means Nixus was way more pressured than you think. Wasn't able to get away with as much, at least to counter Ninu. I think they were positioning very well. The last fight, you could see they were both playing those corners to get some spam, kind of baiting them in into the damage. Looking at the slash lines here, Slopodopoulos 9-1. You know how you put the console player on the console, and clearly he knows what he's doing. 9-1 and 15. That's the kind of assists you want to see on a Tyra that's going to be spreading those marks like that.
Right, exactly. And the slash outs for everyone else. Oven with the 15 assists. Boca with the 19. So well done from Penta in general. They drafted well, they played well, and here Slopodopoulos with this Hunter's Party talent, just so powerful against this matchup. Yeah,
you know what? I think Slopodopoulos didn't have a bad first week. I don't think his week with the team he was with before All Business, I don't think that was bad, but he's back on his comfort now. I mean, he's where he wants to be, and I mean, it's showing, you know, immediately against an OTP team that I think was looking pretty solid the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Just reminding everybody that I can still play Paladins, you know. Don't forget about me. Slopodopoulos is here to stay, and it's still a very fun name to say.
Yeah, 100%. Good way to put it as well. I mean, like, just his positioning, and I've said it once before. I'm going to say it again just so I can emphasize it. The Hunter's Party. Like, that was so difficult for OTP to try and even make it through with so many front lines that they had. They tried to do what they could. Unfortunately, they couldn't cash out the first game. That does go in the way of Penta. But find out who wins game 2 right after this break.
SteelSeries, the official peripheral provider of the Paladins Minor League.
Welcome back after game one, and that's the Penta I think that we've all come to know and love from the MSI. Finally, no 3-0 for them here today, and a much better showing on Shattered Desert. Good team composition, Nick, built around them. They, the Genos, the hunting party, top to bottom, great composition. Man. Slopodopoulos looked very comfortable yet again, and that's the controlling, dominating Penta I think that we were used to seeing. Different names, but similar result.
That's for sure, man. You look at a couple of times there, Luminary and Hunting Party actually lined up. That Drogoz is swinging for north of 1,200, right? You have those three front lines. They're kind of big, slow, easier to hit. And that's where something like that, really becomes valuable. And I think what kind of really pushed it over the edge for me was Ovum on Inara.
Yeah.
Having that's just a character that couldn't even be bullied out by three frontliners. Ovum is that fearless. He doesn't even have that much healing behind him, mind you. He still has that Genos behind him, but he's still getting in there, and he's still doing Ovum things, right? He's still out-fragging almost all the other frontliners in the game, having a great KD, pushing barracks under dome shields and getting the kill. I mean, this guy just brings so much to the front line. He is still that veteran from Penta. He is the front line that helped Penta, kind of elevate themselves and get him in a position to be cherry-picked to the Premier League.
Especially when you consider the win rate of triple frontline, being able to undo that in map number 1. Very convincing there from Penta. Map number 2 hangs in the balance. They'll see if they can do it again. It's going to be Serpent Beach this time around. Fun map to look at. I love the verticality that sometimes comes to play here. So important when you're pushing the payload. Of course, on the defensive end, you kind of inherit that just straight out of base. Maeve, Eevee. He's kind of, hung in the balance. Maeve, though, is something to look at. So those vertical champions maybe a little more prioritized here.
Yep, you kind of need the Eevee player. Maeve players, sometimes that sort of crosses streams there. You'll get sort of the 2-for-1 punch. When we see, Andrew a little bit later, I think that's where we might, expect to see that. Maeve has been waning in popularity a little bit in the minor league. I think she's still there in the Premier League. Super difficult character, so you have to be invested in that character. Same with Eevee though. I mean, you have to be invested in those two flankers to make it work. And what is a pretty tank heavy meta at the moment. Flankers don't always do so well against tanky boys, so you have to make sure that you're very careful about when you pick those matchups.
I think Ashe is a great pick here on this map for One Trick Pony. Solid champion kind of on any map. But that little extra added verticality with the assert dominance, if you can time it right, if you can aim it right, take that high ground, dive on the defense that tends to be camping up in the high ground. If that's the case for One Trick Pony here in this case. So I think it's a great pick, following it up with the Grover. And Narakan, though, on the opposite side, getting Ovum back on something that he's comfortable with in the Inara. Going up against Grover Leon, though, lots of damage to mitigate.
I would absolutely expect this Inara to be taking the high ground at some point.
Yes.
Ovum loves to be aggressive. We already saw that in game number 1. Speak of the devil, and she shall appear. Maeve's been locked in as well. So not only will she be getting to the high ground, but Ovum could potentially, you can lift your whole team up on the wall.
Summit 5
there. Maybe we'll have to see. Ying has the high ground, take potential there.
True.
And it's not like this, it's just the be all end all, but it's so good to have that option, because when you threaten different angles on the high ground on Serpent Beach, you break up that sort of campy death ball, because the reason people are going to do that if you can't get up there is because it's unpunishable. There's no other way. You have to take this long scenic route, go up a long winding staircase, double back, you're exposed the entire time. It's just very hard to do if you don't have an ability to get up there yourself.
I think we saw that yesterday with the Makoa that
he did his damnedest
all the way around, and then immediately after getting to the high ground, lost the trade and died. Sad about that. Eevee rounds out the OTP lineup. Cassie rounds out the Penta lineup. Who do you like better for Serpent Beach?
I like Penta, man. Ovum here on Inara and the Maeve, and I definitely want to just keep an eye on the Ying, see what she's been picked for. A little focusing lens, maybe. That just looked too good after yesterday. Console League, baby.
Well, if nothing else, Penta are not going to get 3-0 this week. Looking to go up 2-0 over One Trick Pony on Serpent Beach. Let's do it.
Here we go, game 2. Now, I'm really interested in seeing what OTP's comp can bring to the table this go-around.
I mean, both these comps are kind of, I would say, standard for Serpent Beach.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually you want a pretty mobile flanker, you want a solid backline, and point tank off tank.
Right.
And that's what both teams are bringing. They're not really bringing anything too crazy draft-wise to the table. We've seen some triple DPS on this map in the past. We've seen like the Hyper Victor stuff that Fanatics pulled out. But again, standard across the board. I find it interesting that they would have Ashe with the Grover on this map.
Really?
Because the Grover's going to have to commit pretty far if he wants to heal her. If she does do that kind of aggressive dive. So they're going to have to position kind of interestingly. I feel like OTP could abuse it if they get their rotations right.
Yeah, I feel like that could be the case too, as long as they're aware of the situation. As long as Penta is looking out for that Grover. That Whirlwind can be pretty aggressive, though. You definitely want to keep an eye out on that as well. We see them already holding bridge. That's something you see constantly throughout Serpent Beach. Slopodopoulos getting a few crossbow shots off, and since they saw Slopodopoulos get some of those hits off, they are already pushing so far in to make sure they can get something going for their team.
Great aggression here, too. I mean, Ashe isn't as good when she's getting walked at. She's way better at walking at you.
Right,
so
yeah.
Penta kind of setting the pace at the start of this, but Nixus, the pace isn't set the way they want. OTP find 2 early kills.
Yeah, they do. Eevee actually finds one on Ninu, Nixus on Slopodopoulos as well with Surets, making sure he gets both Ovum and Coriel. Really, really good play from them. Just good awareness, just overall, because they were getting walked at, like you mentioned it before. They were getting pressure, and then they bounced back immediately off of that first pick.
Yeah, and they're also getting cap time this whole time, so unless this Maeve dives for it, doesn't look like Ninu wants to. This should go 100% to OTP.
Yeah.
The Penta, their aggression at the start was good, but I think Slop just wasn't ready for the pressure from on the side. They just weren't paying attention to the Leon angle. And they're going to have to be way more careful, because Leon can burst you instantly across the map on this map. There's so many ways you can just immediately go down, so gotta be a little careful. Defit's gonna have to be real careful now. Ice blocking up top, and not careful enough. Slopodopoulos finds that for new ledge.
Yeah, the fact that they just lost a member is going to mean a lot for Penta. You already see that Ovum's actually pushing in, trying to be really aggressive. He's trying to force them back. Ashe being really low. Barrett having to drop the shield to make sure that Ashe doesn't actually just get picked off. Give him some chance. Whirlwind was popped though, and Nixus finds the kill onto Ninu, punishing him for being just in an out of spot. And the Ice Storm goes down as well. They were already a little bit further back. He did drop the Ice Storm a little bit preemptively, a little bit early to make sure he could try and slow anything. But they were already out of it by that point. And Penta, since they're on the back pedal, OTP's got this pretty much just push in the back right now.
This Grover's going to be really solid early game. That Whirlwind, this is when you want to be popping Whirlwind as soon as you get it. You know, if you can find value out of that early, it's going to do way more than late game. If you're popping it immediately late game, then you're just going to die. You know, you're just going to be throwing yourself and your ultimate away, as opposed to a situation where you could have saved it. Everyone's peeling back to try to save Defit. Seismic Crash trying to catch him too, but he avoids it. Ninu with the chase. Cat Burglar damage boost helping him confirm that kill. Ninu finding another as well. So solid defense so far by Penta here. That high ground, it really is so brutal to break through.
Yeah.
On this map in general, just anytime you try to push main, I have played support. I've had to sub in for support on this map before. Pushing against like a Ruckus coming behind you on this ledge, it's so frustrating. You have no sight lines.
Right.
You're just getting bursted for 1500 by a tank. There's no way you can see, even if you Maldamba stun him when he comes in. He's just like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, all right, wow. Took a short little nap. You're still dead, and nothing's gonna change there.
Right, exactly. They're already holding the high ground here. This bridge is really important. If they manage to get the payload past that, that's going to mean a lot for OTP in this scenario. The blink comes up from Defit, trying to get some damage on the Khan and the Cassie, juking them just a little bit, trying to get something onto them. Cassie looks like she might be in a bad spot, though. They do trade for their healer, which that's going to end up being pretty good. Battle Shout to give himself immunity, force him to back off. Ovum is fighting the Barrett, is fighting the Ashe currently right now, just to make sure they actually have a little bit of zone, so it's a little bit harder for them to get in. It's going to force OTP back.
I told you how awful it is to play support on this map, Brett.
Yeah.
Immediately, I literally am like, I hate getting flanked from the ledge above and dying as support. And then, like clockwork, Slopodopoulos jumps down from the high ground and finds a pick onto Surets while he's playing the card. It's harder for Grover, too. He can't handle the pressure very much, but good start by One Trick Pony Defit finding Coriel. Ninu, though, great double dagger pounce combo to get that early kill.
He's been doing super well with just these daggers, his placement. He's been catching Defit off guard pretty much almost all of this game. Like, we've seen him get a lot of kills onto Defit and just have really good positioning up here on this bridge. The payload is past it, though. Still gives him good sidelines. Ashe wants to go up there to try and get some damage onto Ninu. Force him just a little bit back, but the 1v1 is happening right now. Just the kinetic burst action, make sure he actually backs off. The axe from Grover is going to pick up the kill, but not before Cassie actually gets the kill on the Ashe. And now that Barrick's down, yeah, that means that they're going to be able to defend. But 4 ults are on for both teams.
I want to give Slop some credit for that.
Right.
Because he was up top, he got Ice Storm, he managed to kill who was diving him, and then with 1 HP dropped and rotated around Orange, and then found another kill. And he still didn't die that whole fight, so that was actually a great rotation play from him of managing to avoid death. And top fragging for his team right now. High deaths, but I mean, they were on defense. He dove for that Surrett's kill, which kind of got them that defense, so that death is kind of a non-factor. So solid defense from them, but they need to find their footing on these mids. This is one of those maps that goes 3-3 if the defenses are all played properly. So if they can't figure out the mids, it's going to be way harder for them.
I'm generally curious about the Grover's loadout because of the fact that it seems like he has... Yeah, okay. So I was right. He does have the radius for Blossom. That's what I thought because I just saw that it was a bigger. I was like, he's getting more people.
Most Grovers will run that at 5.
Okay.
It's actually, I think it's the most important card over Perennial.
Gotcha.
Because the cooldown for half a second is less than being able to position better.
Right.
If you have more options, it lets them heal better. But Midnight coming in here early, trying to find a kill. They get really aggressive off of it, but some CC immunity cleanses it. Whirlwind coming in too, but there's Cots online now. It might not do quite as much as the Assert Dominance lands on the high ground.
Yeah, 45% on the point for Penta already. He pushes him back as far as he possibly can. Boca gets the kill. Oh, go Boca actually does get the kill onto Ash because of the fact that he managed to hit him right before he went off the side to fit. And Nixes are in a bad spot right now. One of them goes down. Ovum does find the kill onto their healer, and that's going to be big payback from Penta for last round because of the fact that now that their healer is down, OTP is going to have to find some way to make this work, but they can't. They have to wait for the Grover. The kill on Barrick is going to be the start of Penta getting 75% on.
I'm still amazed by that angle that Coriel found that throw at. I can't believe he got that. I'm assuming at least maybe one resiliency be online for him, but it doesn't really matter. Stop Me having to go touch the point. Shield being used early. Seismic Crash coming in on him too, but I don't know if anyone can confirm. Never mind. All the damage coming in done to Stop Me. Ninu finding another. This is looking fantastic for Penta.
Yeah, the rest of Penta are just making sure that they clean up whatever it is that is left at this point. They were on the point. OTP was trying to contest as best as they could. Once everybody was low, you just saw Penta start to rush him. A Illusionary Rift is up. Midnight's coming up as well as the Overpower. But both Ice Storm and Enlightenment are going to be up, followed by the Whirlwind really soon. Nixes and them holding this bridge right now to make sure that nobody can really try to get through.
I'm curious if I could see the items really quick, because I want to see how much effectiveness they'll have on the Whirlwind. So Caught 2's online. Some people bought some other items and said Caught 3 up really soon for Coriel. So that means that the Whirlwind isn't going to really be as effective as they want it to. It's going to get burnt down before they can get it off. Slopodopolis finding 2 quick ones, 3 quick ones from the ground, and I think they're diving him too. Nyx is coming in, Enlightenment used.
Oh, nice! That was so good.
That was a great wall by
That was,
Ovum.
yeah.
I mean, we talk about Exentra's Inara from his MSI performance, but I mean, Ovum had a fantastic season throughout on Inara. And Exentra just made him proud. You know, if Ovum had been there, we would have seen almost equal performance, I assure you. Hopefully we can see him around next time if Penta do perform well this season. But for now, small stalemate. Slopodopolis getting some good damage. They're getting pressured out up top. Overpower missed. They're rounding this final corner.
Yeah, you see OTP all grouped up in that one room to make sure they can cover as much high ground together as possible. They don't want to get picked off individually in case Ninu actually does go up top. He has been fighting to fit a lot. The kill onto Ovum, though, is going to mean a lot. Commander's grab to make sure he actually throws him behind him. Tries to get something set up. Not going to be enough, though. Boca and Slopodopolis are low, with Slopodopolis going down first. Boca follows right after him, and that's going to be something of a start for OTP with the Dome Shield and the Whirlwind and the soon-to-be Ice Storm and Assert Dominance.
Yeah, ideally they want to save that, though. I mean, if they find a good opportunity for a Whirlwind, I would say take it at this point, just because Claw 3s are going to be online very soon. It's definitely worth it to get that out of the way. Great trading by the mid. Oh, wow, fantastic air shot onto Ninu, but the 9 lives healing kind of negates that, so that's a frag vid play.
Yeah.
He'll save that down. That's all he really needed there. The marketing value of that shot was actually way higher than the damage value.
Well, the sales are for sure up. That much is for certain. Ninu is in the high ground. The Ice Storm to drop immediately to fit. I'm not sure if he might be a little bit shook. He dropped Ice Storm as soon as he saw Ninu, but Ninu wasn't committing to anything at that point in time. He's getting a few daggers onto the Grover. That's going to mean a lot for them. Force Grover back just a little bit. They're going to concede some of the high ground to Ninu right now in this high ground spot. Nixes is trying to get, you see him trying to get shots onto him to make sure he can pick him off, but I don't know if it's going to be enough for OTP to be able to hold this one.
Ninu's cutting really well, but also great pressure from Stop Me. He has to rotate away now, though, so they're kind of ignoring Slopodopolis. And you can't ignore Slopodopolis if he's going to do that. A quick 2 with a blast shot in 1 shot, 4 kills, really quickly going the way of Penta.
Nice
Ninu trading with Defit up here. Defit has to go and touch the point. Wormhole's not in the right place. What a call for that.
Well, yeah, for sure, yeah.
It's like, wow, he stopped looking at Slopodopolis, and then immediately, what a flip from them.
Yeah, nice.
Slopodopolis, again, I mean, this is, I mentioned console player on console champion before.
Right.
This isn't a champion you see that much on console with his experience, but he's been playing PC long enough where he has that experience on these champs. He knows what he's doing.
I mean, that is I mean, that's true. We literally just saw Boca with a 17 assists, 13 assists on Khan. Meanwhile, OTP is going to have to find some sort of way to catch up with only 1 point. They managed to capture the point, but they did lose the defense. They weren't able to actually push it in all the way. So we're going to have to see if Penta can end up closing this one out or if OTP can finally cap the point.
When I have 13 assists on Khan, I just ask my team to stop stealing my kills.
Right.
At that point, if I'm at that point, Khan is like the finisher. When,
Right.
when I have 13 assists, I'm like, come on, guys. But we'll see how they use some ultimates here. Overpower is on. They might look for it early if they want to flip this. Cap time started on OTP, but Ovim comes to trade it really quickly. And now Slap's turning his focus there too, so Barrick's most likely going to have to back up. What are they looking for here? Looks like he doesn't want to go for the Overpower, most likely saving it for the Assert Dominance. Ovim still controlling the point, and it's a stalemate. I wonder what flank's going to find the first pick.
Oh, I heard the Assert Dominance actually end up going off. He's going for the Khan to make sure he starts something. Midnight to follow up, though. Cassie used that scout a little bit too early. Wasn't able to actually be countered. Ovim goes down thanks to the fit as well. OTP now in the driver's seat trying to push as hard as they can. Leon has to back up just a little bit, but Enlightenment, nice shield coming out from the Khan, forcing them back a little bit, and it's also going to force back both Ash and Leon away from them, but not before Ash goes down.
Yeah, but the first pick goes towards Penta. I mean, even getting pressured like this, they're still in the driver's seat here. Defit trying to find some pressure onto this Khan. Ovim having to go to the point early to stop this because double comeback means they have to keep up the pressure. They can't give it up very well. Nyx is actually in a good position now, too. They're going to have to look at him really quickly. He does not get the reset on his Eminence, though. So that's a lot of the damage potential out. Ovim still contesting the point, and the Illusory Rift coming in means wide. Okay.
Wow, okay.
That happened.
Yeah,
I'm going to pretend it didn't. Khan pressuring still on the high ground up here, though. Cap time's still going both ways. Whirlwind coming in, it won't find the healing that it needs, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was seeing that too. And even in the last round, we saw that the Whirlwind wasn't enough to heal. But here we go, 1-for-1 trade. Nixus getting the kill on a Slappadopoulos, but Boca and Coriel are just cleaning it up right now. No one is there to really contest the Anar. No one's there to contest Ovim. And that's going to be it. And good wall, too.
He knew it was good. He's taunting. He knew it was good.
Oh, yeah.
He immediately knew. The One Trick Pony was too clumped up on the high.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, they got 1 or 2 picks on the people on the side, and then as the rest of OTP was like, oh, panic mode, touch the point, touch the point, they just got picked off one by one. The Illusory Rift giving way too much healing for OTP to burn through. Fantastic play by Penta, I think, that game. I mean, Coriel missed a couple overpowers in that last fight, but intimidation factor.
Right, exactly.
They were scared. They were grouped up.
That's true.
That's why, right?
That's true.
I say 100% Coriel's overpowers.
I mean, yeah, last round, before they ended up just losing that, we did see that OTP was all grouped up in one room to make sure that wasn't too much pressure on the high ground. But look at the damage here. 83,000 for the defit. Nixus with the 88,000 as well. But don't undermine that healing from Boca, though.
Yeah,
Check that out.
200k healing in a 4-1 game, excuse me, is huge. And damage charts are mostly sided towards OTP, but I think that's partially because of the amount of healing that Boca pulled out.
Exactly.
And just being able to keep up with that. See if I see anything interesting in these loadouts. Doesn't look too crazy.
Yeah.
The Barrack build is the Barrack build still. But Slash Lines here, 10 and 6 for Slop, and an even. Listen, if you say one thing about One Trick Pony, they're in sync.
True.
There's not a fight that they did not all die in.
That's true. That's true.
It's 6 and 6 for everybody, but still really good for them. And also Ovim on that point. I mean, we talked about his walls and his positioning throughout the game, and just how he was. He could have been a force at MSI if he were able to go, but still a very good Inara, as it turns out. Had that great wall to clutch out the game, and just being in the right place there for Defit. Good daggers by Nino to confirm, but Ovim was the one who found the kill.
Yeah, it was. And he had some very, very good walls. A wall to block the Enlightenment so Leon couldn't kill Boca in that situation, as well as the wall that we just saw to block the Ash dodge, the Ash shoulder bash to come in and try and touch the point. And really, it was like he made some very, very good decisions, some very good plays as well. Seismic Crash was really, really good to actually set up that for his team and make sure they actually capped the point, forcing Grover to go on.
That was actually a great Seismic Crash position.
I agree.
He was trying to split the difference there and get the Grover and the Ash. That's usually risky. I've told players before, like, sometimes you just got to commit to one, because it's either you get one or you get 0.
Right.
The 1% chance you get 2 is good, but he knew that radius perfectly, managing to find that stun on the Ash to confirm that kill. Great play by Penta. Again, they're back and forth. This is the Penta that I remember.
Yeah, now with the score being 2-0, the question is, can they close out the entire set? Find out right after this break.
INAP, powering the control room for the Paladins Minor League.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for sticking around. Some smooth jazz beckoning you back here after game number 2. Still goes the way of Penta, a little bit closer than game number 1, but well on their way to a 3-0 after back-to-back 0-3s to start off the split. Seems like Penta have maybe found some of their footing, and especially over One Trick Pony, a team that had been given good performances. Yeah. You know, they hold their own against Sour Team. Of course, Sour Team 2-0, but you know, in this region with all business as well, One Trick Pony was starting to look like a team that could maybe have some upsets, but I still don't know quite what to make of this Penta roster yet, but the way they're playing now, I think if they keep playing this way, they'll probably contest for that 1-2 spot.
Yep, all their substitute players are kind of gone. They've got their full main roster. We get to see Penta at the full strength, and with that new, you know, bring in of Slopodopoulos, which apparently is working out very, very well for him today. He's done phenomenal through the first 2 games that we have seen from him. Still more of the same, you know, solid flank performances from Ninu, the front line of Ovim. I mean, when you really look across the board, as long as Slopodopoulos works out, I mean, the rest of the squad is still very, very accomplished and very, very solid and a sure bet to be top 1 or 2.
Maybe a little bit of growing pains, but seem to be working those out here in week number 3. Map number 2, Serpent Beach. Map number 3 is going to be Stone Keep. 4-0, 4-1. I mean, it's not even so much close. I mean, 4-0 is the best way you could start. I say Penta maybe needs to swing first. They do that pretty convincingly. 4-1 on the back end of that. Stone Keep, I mean, the way the momentum's swinging right now, maybe you expect Penta just to take it home, but you're right. I mean, you have Ovim, Bolka. I mean, those were
I think he's going to take a bad draft. I don't know.
Right. I think they'll have to outdraft themselves somehow. I mean, their drafts are good. Their play is good. OTP looking for something to take over Penta here today. Taking away the Torvald and the Genos. Atlas, Makoa follow afterwards. I mean, I guess you just got to put yourself in like the best ideal matchup possible. I mean, they had the triple tank, nothing really to deal with the Drogos in game number 1, and then Slopodopoulos kind of went off on the Tyra. I mean, the matchups themselves individually haven't been super ideal.
That wasn't very nice.
Slop on the Cassie yet again. That's a high priority first pick for him.
They take away the Inara as well, just I guess to get Ovim off of it.
Let's fight.
I don't have a ton of memories of Ovim not playing Inara. I have a couple of him playing Fernando. But I think he's so solid and he has that sense about him, you know what I mean? That thing that you just can't teach a frontline player. So if they end up going for an Ash Khan, or maybe it is Ash Nando in this scenario, Grover's locked in as well.
But
a lot of emphasis on Slop. So now this is a good game to watch because now Slop is getting that priority pick.
Right.
Why exactly? Obviously, you know, solid against Inara, solid against Grover. But it's kind of a lot of pressure, I think, that Slop, I don't know if he's received yet. This is a big boy roster, and hopefully he can step up to the plate.
Absolutely. I mean, if nothing else, just the pressure of, hey, by the way, we're going to get you a champion as first pick. Yeah. They're going to Ash Barak afterwards, so, I mean, not only is it good maybe to have Slopodopoulos on that Cassie, but a little shield break gone from the opposite side if Cassie were to have gone Wrecker in that case. Furia for the healer worked out not super well, because it was OTP who played Fury into with the triple tank map number 1. Fell a little bit short there. Maven Bomb King, some conditional damage for OTP here. Looking to fight around that Grover, maybe some flanking out of the Mave. Do you think Bomb King makes some sense?
Yeah, definitely, especially with Grover. Grover Mave, Bomb King, that all stacked up with Inara on the fringe, probably close enough to obviously want to receive that healing. But that's a dangerous stack. You can punish it with the Drogos. Drogos played on Stone Keep. You know, well enough. Willow as well. Willow, I think, a little bit more reliant on you holding the high ground long term, whereas Drogos much better at flying around and just sort of existing and being okay and operating around without that need for the high ground. But they absolutely have what they need. It's just about getting them to a position. I like OTP's draft. I like that it's just mixing it up. OTP not trying to do the same thing a third time and see if it works.
Well, they certainly have a draft that can contest with Penta here, but whether or not they actually get a win, it's up for the players to decide. Let's get game 3 underway.
Here we go. This could be it. Penta could either close this out, or OTP can try and slowly make this bit of a climb, a little bit of a comeback. But before we get into that, we were talking about the Bomb King beforehand. Like, I know that he's good on Stone Keep. He can control a lot of those smaller rooms. This bridge right here can be really good for him, and just the AoE with Royal subjects. But tell me a little bit more about that, like what it was you were saying to me.
What I was telling you is that the pressure up top when you're pushing last is really strong, because normally some people can kind of just sit around the corner, they jump on that railing, and then it's hard to kind of shake them out of that position, especially if they're getting good heals. But Bomb King, Royal Subjects with Cauterize, you can dead around that corner, you can deny that healing, and make that push onto last a little bit easier. I'm a little worried about Penta's draft solely because I think OTP have a better high ground controlling draft.
Right.
And I think the Willow might suffer if they don't manage to take that high ground area. But yeah, as we said, OTP, they're going to take high ground early. Not too much congestion, just Penta and that. But I mean, if Slop finds that early, I mean, sure, I'll take high ground. Yeah, I'll take that gift.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to just offer it up like that, well, sure. Why would I just not take a free kill? Good job from Slopodopoulos. The positioning was definitely there with Inara being already that low. Big Game is going to play a big role in this big fight currently.
Yeah. Ash dropping down to pressure Slopodopoulos on the ground, getting some good crossfire, but I think they pushed it a little too far. They should have just cut their losses and played outside still. Garmin Bomb on point, forcing Barik off a little bit. He does manage to kite it, but Defense committing on this. I mean, Ovim's going to have to get out of here. Beam coming in to maybe stop it, but I think actually I believe he is on Solar Blessing. I saw a very, very thick beam, so I would assume that would be why. So good healing can come in here. That might help him in the sustained fight against the Inara. That bonus healing can really make all the difference.
100% can. We do see. It is Solar Blessing. That's exactly what the talent was that he took, and that's going to be really interesting to see in these fights because it takes a lot of coordination to be able to use Solar Blessing effectively, which is why most people don't take it.
Yeah, I mean, this positioning by Penta is just so good.
Yeah, 100%.
OTP don't know how to deal with it. They have really good crossfire to fit deading early to stun Slop, and Nixus does find the kill, but nothing else coming in for them. Oben finding Stop Me as well, turns things on their head. I don't know, man. Just watching how they're positioning. Yes, it's the first mid, so they don't have time. Also, I just saw Seedling kill. That's a rarity. They don't have a lot of time to adjust, but this positioning by Slop outside makes it so they can't kite. If there's good enough damage coming in from Penta inside the keep itself, they can't walk outside for a respite because they're immediately going to get punished by Slopodopoulos outside on the Cassie. Plus the Barik poke. We can't ignore that either. Barik and Cassie both poking the same door from outside is going to be hard. Now we have to see how Penta want to take this fight, though. He's going to have to probably just splash the people up or maybe bully them out with Ash, but it's going to be hard to duel into that bomb.
Yeah, 4 ultimates are up on the side of Penta, though. You see the Whirlwind is there, the Seismic Crashes come in, the Overpower as well. Nixus is trying to get a few daggers, trying to get something started, but the Inflame is going to get things started for sure. Whirlwind has to be used to make sure not only he can back up, but he can use as much healing as possible, but it's not going to be enough with Cassie. And that's something that's really interesting that I just realized, is that with that Inflame, Big Game's going to be so much more powerful with that Furia. They'll have a lot more opportunities to be able to fight and go in.
I mean, think about the damage talents being used here. They have Big Game, they have Blast Flower. That's a lot of stacking damage. Combined with that Inflame, it's going to be really hard for these tanks to kind of do the math in their head, you know? Great pressure on the guy. No, he wasn't knocked off, but Anja's on the point right now. I'm not sure how long it's going to last, especially in the face of that. Coral uses just her dominance and gets knocked back, so not much value out of that. Stalemate now. Who's going to get the first kill? Second kill, never mind.
Here we go. The shoulder bash to come in. Does get bopped right in his face. Unfortunately, the Bark was not strong enough to withstand that shoulder. They do go down, 2 of them, and that's going to net Penta the second point onto Stone Keep. Now, that was really well played by them with that assert dominance. Like, him zoning them was good.
I mean, he got immediately booped, but I think the real player in that fight was the Fae Flight and Flame combo.
Good point.
That combo is one that, I mean, I haven't been coaching in this meta, but it seems like something that is almost a no-brainer, right? Like busting out that infinite ammo, stacking damage, plus the damage boost. That's really overwhelming. I mean, he couldn't get out of the way in time for that damage to keep coming in. Kind of chased him around the corner, being able to confirm with the dead zone on that. I mean, it's all just adds up to be the reasons why Willow is so good right now.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, you see the items already. Caught 2s, resiliences. You see that OTP still on, some of them are still on level 1. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I just wanted to bring it up, because they have such a big differential. The bridge is going to be fought for currently as well. They're going to try and see if they can get some shots. I don't think Ninu, not Ninu, but I don't think Mei is going to make the same mistake as before. And unfortunately, the overpower was missed. He's going to get booped back by Kinetic Burst. He's going to be forced back just a little bit. But 42% onto the point for OTP, that's going to be pretty big for them.
Yeah, Ninu using the Fae Flight too to get some pressure up here. Nixus having to back up, so good control on the outside. Really good control on the outside, actually, by Penta. They can get back on the point now, but they can't. They just have to shoot the right doors. They cannot let OTP back out, or this is going to be really hard for them to maintain. Ninu's on even ground. They have to walk a Whirlwind through a dead zone. That is risky, but thankfully not enough damage. King Bomb coming in. What will it turn?
Good stun from the King Bomb as well. Ninu does go down because of that. He was stunned in the back line. Nixus was ready to actually go in to be sure that he could fight. Inflame goes down, though. just at the, I feel like at the wrong time there. Slappadopoulos does find the kills with their healer, which that's going to mean a lot. He finds a second one. Him and Boca actually, wait a minute, hold on a second. Barrick is actually fighting on the point right now, but Slappadopoulos and Boca were just, there was two of them just fighting the rest of OTP right there.
I mean, that's the power of Inflame.
Right, exactly.
It might have been a bad time, but you're trying to duel someone that's getting pocketed with that much damage boost. They don't have enough cauterize.
Right.
Their itemization is so poor because of the credit bonus that Penta had from the initial cap.
Right.
They just didn't have the items because of that. This is going 3-0 towards Penta, and what a start. I mean, what a statement this game is going to be
100%.
if they keep this pressure up.
Here we go. We do see that Khan is trying to be on the lookout for that as just a little bit. The overpower is up, so he might try and peek every now and again, see if he can get a free grab if they need to get something started. He's holding that high ground, so that overpower can be used if need be. Slappadopoulos and Barrick, man, they're just holding this room right here. Nara cannot find a way in. Blast shot getting damage onto all three of them. Scout, that means they want to fight. Big game damage coming out and making sure that Grover does not get a chance to go back to his base. Where's the rest of them back? And with crossbow, yep, okay, not the crossbow, but Ovum is the one that does get the kill on Nara. I was expecting that to happen as well. Two of them are down, one respawning their healer, and Nara is coming back a little bit later. But he might have to use the overpower if they don't want to end up losing this.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him use it soon, but this Fake Fight should be the only thing that peaks because you can't pull that Willow out of the sky quite yet. Great dead zone. They can't get healed in spawn. The Inara's going to have to commit to the card. It's really close, but Surrett's having to move really forward to heal him. That's the weakness of the Grover. He goes down to Ovum. No healing now for One Trick Pony. Ninu finding Stop Me. What a start to this fight by Penta.
Yeah, 3 kills already, and not only 3 kills, they also just won the game.
Wow. We're back to phase 1, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, right?
This is a very, I mean, other than One Trick Pony wasn't there phase 1, but that was a very different Penta than we saw weeks 1 and 2. I think they looked fantastic there. Their sync on their ults, their positioning.
Right.
Slappadopoulos looking phenomenal, which I think, I mean, he's the new pickup. He's the storyline here.
100%.
That was such well played by him.
I agree with that. I mean, like, just the fight that they had, not necessarily in Keep, but across from Keep, really. With, I mean, I was just blown away by just him and Boat, because that's what shocked me so much. It was literally him, it was 2 people fighting the rest that were alive from OTP, which was like 3 or 4 people in that situation.
I think the damage charts will tell the story here. I mean,
100%.
Andre out-damaging Nixus.
Yeah.
Nixus not really be able to have a leg to stand on here. Slop having 70k damage in a 4-0. That's pretty good numbers.
Yeah.
Nino Ovim not too far behind. Defit kept up. He was the top damager for his team again. That corner pressure really strong, but that positioning from Penta, man. The outside of Keep mid, there was a time long ago. Tell me. Where the meta was kind of just holding that Keep. It was just kind of like, if you lose Keep, you lose the map, but teams figured out how to play outside, and Penta, Ovim not dying, Bolka not dying, Slappadopoulos with 11 kills in that time. I mean, they just played that outer game, spam those doors
100%.
flawlessly.
Boca, deathless game. Ovum, deathless game. No person on Penta's team actually making it above 3 deaths in that case. 3 deaths on Ninu, but 2 on Coriel, 2 on Slappadopoulos as well. But Ninu, man, Ninu did so well throughout the rest of that game. That Willow played such an impact throughout it.
It was, yeah, I mentioned the combo, the Fake Flight Inflame, and here it is. I mean, just the ability to have this long-range, no fall-off, more or less, damage onto them. And the dead zone to negate the Grover healing. I mean, I talked about the weakness of Grover being that he has to come in, but if he comes in and then immediately gets dead zone, I mean, that's just as bad. You know, the Willow has the counterplay to this that they need. These are the 2 tank ults that maybe didn't need to be used, but this, again, Fake Flight's such a hard ultimate to deal with here. They don't have a long-range damage dealer. They have Maeve, BK, and that's not consistent enough.
Right, you see that the position it was that he had, as soon as Fayfly went up, he was standing in between like those 2, like not necessarily archways, but just on the top side. There was like an archway in front of him, and then there were 2 buildings.
Yeah.
He was being right there so he could actually retreat if he needed to use that cover, and that's such a good spot for Willow. 3-0 in the favor of Penta. So well done by them, but that's not the only game that we have for today. Stay tuned after this break.
Skillshot, the official production partner of the Paladins Minor League.